Hello, and welcome to another one of my all-time favorite games, Commander of the Great War. This is an old-school World War I battler, I would say, and we are playing with the hardest difficulty as the Central Powers, Germany will be joining soon, with an additional handicap to make the game even harder. The title of this should be something like Pacifist Germany, because this run, and I love this game, I just love it so much, I want to make it harder, and I don't know the best way to do that. So what I've decided is, in this game, as we play certain turns, as aligned with history, Germany will be joining the war, France, England, Russia will be joining the war. Right now it's just Austria versus Serbia, but as we know with World War I, the Great War, it did not stay as a small conflict. Even Turkey's going to get involved, and potentially Romania and Bulgaria. We'll talk about that all in a second. What I want you to know is that in this game, our unique rule that we're going to add is that when Germany joins the war, we are not going to invade anyone. We are going to declare war, and instead of blitzing into Belgium and trying to capture France and knocking Russia out of the war, Germany will defend. I haven't decided for how long. I think it would be fair to defend for at least 1 year upon joining the war, which is really interesting because that first year, as most people know, is where Germany surges forward with its military might, and then things get into a deadlock, and then all kinds of other issues come up. There's so many issues to not being able to attack. We'll talk about it once Germany actually joins the war, but I think this is going to be a very hard scenario and force me to play the long war, the war of attrition, which the Central Powers are going to struggle to survive. Playing as the Entente can be fun, the Entente being like kind of the allies, but it's not as interesting, I would say, because the AI as Germany and Austria have a really hard time with indecisiveness, sending troops back and forth across, whereas we're going to be insanely good at that. So here we are, day one. Serbia has, murdered our Archduke. We've talked with Germany, and we are ready to invade Serbia. You can see here that there are full brigades here. I think that the name of them is infantry, just infantry versus garrisons. In the early war, there's a lot of gaps in the lines, so you might be able to even use something like cavalry to exploit weaknesses. As you can see, when I click on a unit, it tells me how far that they can move, and you'll see in the very far distance this little train symbol. As Austria, we have 1 railroad capacity per turn. We can do 1 long distance shipment. Here you can see that moving through across a river and through some woods is a lot slower than walking across plain tiles. And then something like a plane, for instance, can fly quite far, but if you need to go even further, once again, that's where the rail lines come in. What are we going to do this game? I'm pretty worried about this whole Warsaw, Novo-Georgiest kind of situation here. Once Germany joins the war, usually you try and straighten your line out, try and take Warsaw and create a straight line. Here we're going to find ourselves in a really tight spot trying to defend Königsberg, so we'll talk about that in a second. But instead of talking grand strategy, let's just talk about the very first turn. Right now, the enemy in the Serbians are in Belgrade, a capital city, with a lot of entrenchment, as you can see from this kind of mile-high view, these little squiggly lines. World War I, we don't want to attack into trenches. They got 4 entrenchment that can get degraded as we attack them. And then the city tile itself being the capital. I think there's a way of this little eye here. It gives defense innately. It gives entrenchment and a bunch of other stuff. So cool. There you go. Let's start by kind of opening up with an attack. So here we've got our infantry, which are really good for pushing. They have a garrison, which is decent for defending. but not incredible. So let's try and open our first turn, trying to push the enemy back through this rough terrain. It does have a good defense bonus, which is crappy, but he hasn't had a chance to actually entrench. So let's go ahead, moving forward. We can always move things, and then down here in the middle of the screen, you'll see it says we're supposed to lose or kill 2 people and lose 1 based on our attack, our defense, and this factor called shock, which is basically just how good things are attacking. In very, very late game, tanks will have a lot of shock, for instance. Right now, if you don't like a movement, you can do an undo, but if you move something else, you can. So we'll start off with an attack. We took an extra damage and we did an extra damage. We did 3 to 2. That's not so bad. And then this here is the efficiency, this little battery. As attacks are executed, we are going to lose efficiency and they are going to lose efficiency. So now they're down to 9. And if we come in again, so we've done a lot of damage here on the front line. We do have a garrison in Sarajevo. That's fine. We're going to leave them there. We're not going to attack with them, because if we attacked with our garrison, as you can see at the bottom, would take 5 casualties attacking into a full strength infantry that's dug in. Our attack of 5 versus their attack of, I think these are just like the kind of the strength, right? Ground attack. So our ground attack of 5 versus their ground attack of 10. Our defense of 7 versus their defense of 18. They have 3 entrenchment, and the weather is currently snow, apparently, because this is up in a rough kind of terrain. No good. I don't know why it says snow. Weather, snow. Maybe it's just like kind of like a miniature Alps kind of situation. Great. So next up, I'm going to move this. Well, there's 2 things I want to move forward. First, this artillery piece is not helping us at all in Budapest. So let's bring it all the way using our rail line to Sarajevo so that we can do artillery bombardments moving forward. Another thing that we would like to do is bring in our airplane. It's going to have good visibility, so you can see here, we can see the enemy back line now, and we'll be able to harass them to try and lower their efficiency by scouting them out, reducing entrenchment, what have you. Another thing that we would like to do is this cavalry doesn't really need a rail line. We could just march them down. And what you'll see here is we right now can't even fill all of our gaps. Right now, the enemy, if they wanted to go on the offensive, could come through this little forest line here. They could attack north. One thing that we're going to make sure to do is bring like our troops from Vienna and start marching them down. It's a long walk, and it's not super ideal, I would say, to walk, because you're going to lose a lot of efficiency walking that far, but you'll also lose some efficiency taking the rail line. So my artillery, for instance, is only at 9 instead of 10. They have low ground attack. They don't have any counter battery, but they do have good strategic attack, bombard, and some shock. So they're pretty good at, like, attacking the enemy that's in transposition. If I click on shock damage to the enemy at the end of an attack calculation. Yeah. So great. So let's look here. Shock damage here again. It's dealt to an enemy efficiency at the end of an attack. So what we want to do is use something like shock with fighters and artillery and even cavalry to really lower the opponent efficiency, and then they will not be able to defend themselves against additional attacks. So right now we're trying to exploit this really, really weakened unit on the front line, and we've taken some damage in doing so. Next up, we need to talk about movements. I'm going to start walking from Vienna. I'm going to start moving this guy. This guy can move south, and this other guy might come by via, I would say, rail line. I'm looking at the land here, and like this, see how this is like a little bit brown? Some of it's rough, and some of it's steppe. Steppe is a little bit defensive. Rough is very defensive. So we kind of want to fight in the rough if we can. However, the city itself is decently defensive and has an entrenchment factor on it. So one thing that we'll do is we're going to move a unit out and put in our very thick unit, because very quickly this war is going to escalate. We're going to want to have a really strong unit here to defend the front line against the Russian invaders. This Przemysl here is actually a fortress, so it has a very high defense rating. Just an FYI. And we'll move this thing forward. This man here, we're not going to move them, but next turn we'll use the rail line to get them as close as possible, probably down to Temsburg, and look to threaten the opponent. Our Vienna men here can also move. We could have sent them north here to kind of assist the Germans, but we're not going to worry about that. And the very kind of last thing in terms of like movement is actually going to be disbanding. Right now, we are getting 44 PP production points. And we have a bunch of these kind of garrisons, which we got for free at the start of the game. They don't cost us anything. We can recruit them for free, but they do have 1 PP cost. And if we're playing on this high of a difficulty, the enemy getting to Vienna is not... it basically means we've lost already. So we're going to go around and we're going to disband these units. Right now, I don't think our PP is being reflected. Don't know why, but I'm pretty sure I've done this in the past and effectively reduced cost. Krakow, I think we need because they could attack us from Warsaw. Prague, we should not need. Innsbruck and Trento are interesting because, like, Italy is right there, but they probably won't be relevant for a while, so we'll go ahead and get rid of Innsbruck, but not Trento. So that, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 should really help us be less kaput, as it were. We'll move this guy down. I think, you know what, actually, I can't undo that for some reason. Love it. Love it. I don't know why going into disband mode was enough to undo my ability to sell, but there we are. The last, that was all my land movements. That was all my disbands. I also have a fleet here. Dreadnoughts, baby. Let's go. Dreadnoughts can be used, for instance, to come here. I could use 3 ammunition, like hard-line artillery ammunition. You don't have to worry about like your infantry and rifles and stuff. It's just like artillery and stuff. The artillery uses 10 ammunition per shot, and we, if we look at management, are only getting 4 ammunition per turn. So it might sound appealing to attack for 3, but this is going to be doing very minimal damage on a target that we're not attacking. So I don't see the value in wasting shots. We do have a submarine here. It's probably worth coming out, and you can see here there's actually the French fleet. They have a pre-dreadnought and some other things. I would spend ammunition to fight the French. Not that we're at war with the French yet, but if we do, that would be something that's worth doing. I don't think that we'll be able to beat the French, so perhaps we'll just kind of blockade the Adriatic Sea, this body of water here, until Turkey joins. And then with Turkey and Austria-Hungary, we should be able to beat out the French. If the British come down with their fleet, we're going to have to run. When Italy joins, we're going to have a lot of problems. But if we're just fighting France and we have 2 against 1, we might be able to make it work. And that's basically all of our things that have moved. So the next thing to talk about is production. We do have the 44 PP, and actually I should go to management. Is this where it shows us? Yeah, right now we're getting 76 per turn and spending 51 on upkeep, right? And then we're spending 1 upkeep on research, so we're getting 24 per turn. We are probably getting 18. So we can expand these productions here, but you can see here it costs 25 to get 1 more ammunition per turn, and that I think gets 5 more per turn and more expensive. 1 more rail line, 120, and transport capacity, being able to have multiple units at sea, super expensive. It's kind of insane. See here are the different stars we can get for completing different goals. Winning before 1919, not hard at all. Okay, so production though, this is one of these interesting things where we can spend our power points and our manpower to do different things. The first thing I like to do is to kind of fill out our front lines here against the Serbians and the Russians. To do that, we'll probably want to buy 2 garrisons and an infantry. Now that's 6 upkeep, so that's a thing to kind of consider, is the faster you deploy units on the ground, you'll have some tempo advantage, but you'll also be like losing some efficiency in terms of PP upkeep. Now, something like an artillery only costs 1 and 1 to upkeep, but it does cost 40 to build. It takes 5 turns. There's a lot of delayed gratification in this game in terms of like distant planning. Even if we bought an artillery, we wouldn't be able to fire 2 artillery guns per turn. We can fire less than half of 1 per turn. Armored trains are also kind of interesting. They have high defense. Now, high defense here is used against units of a different category. So if you're getting bombarded by naval or air, there you go. So here, high defense is 9 and then 16. You can see infantry are very resistant. They have base defense and then they have high defense. Quality is something that's interesting. You get an efficiency value of 10, but as you run out of manpower, a lot of negative things will happen. That's the attrition game. And later on, we can unlock armored cars, railroad guns, tanks, bombers, airships. It's pretty insane. Right now, we're starting the game with 1 lab. And to buy a new lab would cost 45. These labs, you can see, are helping us research things. A couple different things that are interesting. For us, a lot of these things will upgrade over time. You can see here, there's a technology we don't know about, but we're going to look to develop a technology the first time somebody uses an artillery bombardment that involves gas technology. Guess what? This will be a gas mask. We just don't know to start inventing it until somebody starts getting the mustard in their lungs. One interesting thing is the more labs you get, the more focus points you get. So like here, I can click on industrial warfare. That's base defense, and then it will become something else in the future. Hand grenades, which is going to give base defense and assault. Then we're going to get helmets. We're going to get flamethrowers. We're going to get all these great technologies. That kind of top path is just infantry upgrades, whereas anti-air helps against air, obviously, and barbed wire helps for entrenchment. The baseline upgrades are going to be the most helpful for us because we are looking to invade Serbia with Austria-Hungary, so we'll push that in terms of upgrades. Now we're getting 16 per turn, just good to know. We were getting more, but I think having all these units in the production queue, you have to start maintaining them right away, potentially. It's kind of trash. And there we go. That was a really long turn. The only other thing to talk about is like diplomacy. You can kind of see here what's going to happen. In 2 turns, Germany and a bunch of group people are going to join, then England, then Russia. Then you get less clarity about like the future nations. You could declare war on more units. Like we could just say, haha, I will declare war on Romania. But that will likely just provoke more enemies. So it's just not worth, like, for instance, going to war with Switzerland. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk. It only took 20 minutes to explain the game. Now, let's hit next turn. See here, Serbians doing a great job attacking us. No events occurred this turn. No technologies. No units produced. Pacifist Germany, save. Lovely. Continue. We got a leader that we can deploy. He gives an aura that makes people stronger. I'm going to hit continue, and we're going to bring up this person here. If I click on him, I want to see... You can see what's highlighted down here. More ground attack, more shock, and more defense for all of our units in this kind of like highlighted area. So that's pretty good. We're gonna use him right away, and the first thing that we would like to do is get onto this garrison and blow it sky high. Boom, you are dead. Next thing, this unit with 9, it's a full infantry battalion. They only have 3 on the board. I would like to weaken it and lower its efficiency. Nice. It's still not worth attacking likely if we check. We have 1 here. What I'd actually like to do is use my Air Force, and you can see these guys have that high defense, right? I would like to use the Air Force to harass these cavalrymen. They might damage us, but we are going to lower their efficiency. They didn't damage us. They lower their efficiency. Lovely. Next up, let's step across the enemy. It's a little bit difficult because they could kind of pincer us, but we'll attack the cavalry, and we actually know there. Then we'll attack the cavalry again. Huge hit. Let's come into range of our leader, and boom, baby. Massive hit. We destroyed that unit, and since we destroyed the unit, we have an opportunity to step into that tile. That would be nice if we want to protect them from getting a hit, but I have a feeling that we have base defense of 12. The infantry is a base defense of 18. They don't have artillery on us right now. I think that we're okay to not step into this tile. Let's go ahead and take this person here and train them, bring them forward. This one here can keep kind of tanking hits for a minute while everyone finds their way to the front line. So far, so good. We do have an ability to use repair mode, and you can see here it costs 1 power point, 1 manpower, and we get 1 person back. Here we can do it for free, just because this garrison unit type is like a fake unit type as far as I'm concerned. But it's most efficient if you can repair for 3. If you move a unit, you can only repair for 2. If you stand still, you can repair for 3. Sometimes you can't stand still and just get repaired because you will be losing efficiency over time if you continue to get harassed. One thing that I've messed up a bit is that this unit could step forward and hit my artillery or my plane. That could do a decent amount of damage. But I'm not going to give up Sarajevo so they can do that. Instead, what I'm hoping is if they do that, we can turn around and just punish the hell out of them. We'll see, though. Serbia might be very aggressive. Who knows? Maybe this is a feint and we're luring them into some punishment. We have 18 power points. We could get another garrison. If I purchase that, look, we have plus 19 per turn. It does immediately add to the cost. So perhaps we... Oh no. Did you see what just happened there? Canceling him after ordering him. Oh, never mind. We're good. Canceling him after ordering him, I thought screwed something up, but it didn't. Also, if you can just look at this, Dreadnoughts, 80 power, 24 turns. Like, what? What? Like, that's like literally every turn is like a portion of a month. So it's like a whole year. Like, no way that's gonna, like, no. Just so much no. We have 18 power points. As we get more kills and suffer casualties, we'll get new generals. Interesting. I don't know that multiple of them can overlap, but we'll talk about that here in a second. I don't want to hire anybody else. Arguably, I like the idea of bringing in cavalry just because their upkeep is so low, but Yeah, let's hold off on that. It's really hard to punch through infantry with just cavalry. Cavalry is the best at defeating an enemy, because if they're forced to retreat, you get like double damage or something like that. Looks like everyone's moved. We can click this button to click around. I could do some battling out here. This is a pre-dreadnought. This is an armored cruiser. It just seems like such a waste of effort to do that. But I don't know. This is our best. This is our actual dreadnought level 2. Maybe let's not be afraid. Oh, we're not at war with them. We're not at war with France. And we can't undo this because it gave us vision over something. That's what it is. And now they have vision on me. Interestingly, not great. Let's put the dreadnought up front and talk about what that might mean in a minute. One thing I would really like is more ammunition. So let's hold off for that. Alternatively, we could get more research going, but that's pretty expensive, so. Let's see what he's doing. Okay. Germany declares war, France stands tall, Belgium is invaded, and we get some units to deploy. Continue. All right, so they didn't step forward. They did repair on the front line. His efficiency is still down, okay? That is very important because it enables us to continue that harassment. So let's use our artillery once again. We have 10 artillery ammunition. So by doing this down, 20, not very good. The airplane we can use again. He's gone yellow efficiency because it's just lost quite a bit at this point. Let's do an attack. He's now down to 6. Let's bring you down here and attack. And then allow me to shift my unit ever so slightly. Never mind, I can't bring you into this tile. I really don't want to step into this tile because he can attack me from Belgrade, and that seems like a losing proposition for me. So instead, let's bring the infantry forward, and let's get a little repair going here. So one, like, it costs 3 manpower even though I'm only getting 2 guys back. Here, at least it's free because that unit doesn't really exist for some reason. And I'm not ready to even pretend to attack Belgrade because without the artillery and air force, we're not going to get anything done. We also need some help there. So let's just step here and here, bring our infantry down. We'll bring our infantry over here, and we'll allow there to be a no man's land between us. If they want to leave their entrenchment to attack, I am happy to counter. Next up, we're chilling over here. Again, we can go to the diplomacy thing. We have 2 turns until Russia arrives. I could bring this big unit down for a push. I have a feeling this front line is going to get pretty saturated pretty quickly. We can see some of the Russians here. So I don't know. We're also going to get a unit in 2 turns. So perhaps we do, after all, bring this unit down with the intention that we'll get a new one. And then you guys come here, and we will... We have 35 PP. I think that means that for us, we can do 2 things. We can go to management, and we can purchase an additional ammunition thing. And then we can go back and get a garrison. One of these garrisons should be applied down here so that we have coverage on the front line. And one of them should be at the fortress of Premsil, and we should start building up against the Russians. Should they attack, which, yeah. All right, welcome to Germany. Okay, we got lots of things in Germany here, and We just declared war on Belgium and France. You can see here, they've got a small garrison in Liège, a big fortress, and Brussels is probably like almost open for the taking. And we've got an insane German army stacked up top for that Schlieffen plan to slam into Paris when the French hit us here. We're going to do nothing. Nothing over here. We might shift some units around, actually. Maybe a little... Put a big unit on this corner because it will get attacked 3 times. I wouldn't mind bringing you down here. And you here, so that you can come up with the nets. And there. Yeah, we're so overloaded on this side. It's probably worth bringing this artillery here. Germany has 2 railroad capacity, so that's pretty easy. Bringing you down allows us to do some rotations on units. I think we should move this a little further forward. The enemy has a fighter. Now, what's interesting about fighters, and I'm not sure if it's ever mentioned anywhere, but they provide air protection. So they can, like, if an air unit attacks me, my air unit kind of counters. Yeah, alright. And then, is there any argument to be made about defending myself from Russia? I mean, like, I can argue till the cows come home. That's good. This is fine. Like, this front line is so, like, protruded for reasons that are just, you know, difficult, we'll say. Let's bring the cavalry nearby. One thing I love about Germany is they do have this, like, airship. I always send the airship to France because normally I'm invading France like you're supposed to, and it's just pretty great to have around. Since we're not really invading France, it's probably best to send it to defend against Russia. This whole German U-boat thing, I don't see it being very useful. I think the best thing that we can do with our German fleet is actually just kind of ignore the potential of a German or a British invasion. And we should all bring it into the Russian side through the Kiel Canal and group up our fleet here. If the enemy wants to attack, good for them. But what's very important is we get, like, steel shipments from... like, Finland. So if we can just stop the enemy from ever getting through, right, and hurting us, then that's just incredible. So we'll just put a bunch of stuff here, lock Russia into its own territory. It might have something down at Riga. Can I undo? I can't because I discovered tiles. And there you go. That's basically everything, except I'm also going to do the thing that I did as Austria here. Germany has 32 or 22 production or 51 production next turn. Holy crap. Incredible. And 9 ammunition. If we go to management, you can see Germany getting one more, costs 50, which is a little bit insane. We're going to go in here and look. Munich, if that ever gets invaded, that's a problem. You. Just delete them. If they get invaded, then we've screwed something else up. It's that easy. How much does it cost to maintain a ship? A light cruiser. 1 per turn is enough to keep. All right, there is flexibility in having this many ships. And then these territories are border provinces, so their garrisons are worthwhile. I don't know that Wilmhaven or Cuxhaven are worth keeping, but I don't think the enemy has the intelligence to do a naval landing because it's the AI, so we're not going to worry about that. I'm not sure how to defend all this without invading and putting the pressure on Russia. Like, this is really tricky. All right, production-wise, Germany, you need some infantry in the pipeline. No freaking doubt about that. You need some garrisons in the pipeline. You probably could do for some fighters. And then with 10 or 15 left, I think we just relax. Getting some Air Force and some other things is nice. Germany does have higher technology. It's still worth focusing down this. I would love to get them a lab. 45 is expensive, so we won't be, because they have a bunch of other labs that are driving up the cost. And then what's this? Let's scroll down and just kind of click the next tab and see where that lands us. Basically, yeah, we got that fleet. I think that submarines are invisible unless you start your turn next to them. We could go after this pre-dreadnought, but we have like no ammunition. So I'm gonna not and say I did. In fact, can I undo that? No. Yeah, we're chilling. So, invading Serbia. So far, we've gotten 1 or 2 tiles from them, because we're just that good. And they may have gotten a tile from us. So we're up 1 tile. Good luck to us. We have a lot of morale. Once that starts going below 100%, we'll have some problems. I do believe. Finally killed that unit. Is moving forward into that like no man's land that we had created. That's very bold. France is coming in. They're creating a front line. Now, like, Brussels here, Antwerp 7, Brussels 11, Liege 2. Like, this is all production capacity that Belgium has until we kill them or remove them. So, it just is what it is, man. Artillery research is now available. No developments this turn. Let's do another save as Pacifist Germany. And I'd like to play at least another turn here, because I spent basically the first 20 minutes of the game just explaining what's happening. Let's get some higher tempo. First of all, we have a leader here. We want him to support attacks on this, or we want to attack this guy who has an efficiency of 6. The 6 efficiency is so low that how could we not? Boom. We can absolutely now shift this frontline unit and make room for this guy here to shift as well. We'll shift you. Let's attack with the we took a big hit there. Keep attacking. And then we'll step forward. This is helpful because it gets that aura in a little bit deeper. We created an actual opening that sent him back. Let's check what this looks like. This garrison, excuse me, I don't think I want you to move forward. He was almost able to finish off that unit, but not quite. Right now, he would have extra defense because of the aura. You know what? Let's exploit this weakness and see what happens. I mean, it could turn out pretty poorly for us. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do an attack even though we're at a disadvantage. That's going to be to lower the efficiency so we can't get 5 attacks on my 1 unit. So here or here, 7, 3, 5. So 1 and 1, that's fine. Our aura extends to here. So I would like to step down. I would like to attack with you, and I would like to step into the aura and attack. Wow, that's pretty sick, actually. And then attack here. I could step adjacent to Belgrade. That doesn't seem that intelligent. Let's come down and attack their full strength unit, and that's pretty good. Our fort is watching their fort. We're just staring back and forth. There's no real movement. That's fine. Next up, what is there to say? Should we be deploying more units? Is going to happen soon. We have 20 production with Austria. Austria does have some artillery, so if we look at research, I was tempted to sell this lab with Austria because they are behind on technologies, but I don't think we have to. Like, it's fine. They're probably not going to build a railway gun, so we'll use our focus up here so they don't put as any extra points into that than they have to. Germany, on the other hand, very close to chlorine gas. Now, gas effect, higher damage to enemy efficiency and strength. So can we see an artillery piece somewhere? Range movement, yeah, it doesn't say here, but I'm sure that the gas will be good. So kills inflicted. Really, I'd love to get a general, but we're not there yet. We are going to get you next turn. And we got to get some air combat and some navy combat going if we want those generals. I'm not too concerned. I think that it's important, though, to have something in the pipeline in terms of production. So I will get one more garrison for Austria. It'll just take 2 turns. Give us a little bit of a go. And then in terms of production for Germany, I am trying to just defend, but I guess we could do an airship. That only upkeeps for 1, and we could do another infantry, and I could do 2 more garrisons. I mean, we have a lot of frontage to protect, and I have a feeling we might be coming in to bail out Austria. Now, Austria, in my opinion, is allowed to attack Russia, but then Germany isn't allowed to follow in after, because that would be unfair. Here, there's nothing to do. We could be shifting some units around, but basically we're ready for them to attack us. We could do a bombard. Germany does have the ammunition for it. I don't consider that preemptive defense. And then let's get this airship over here. I really like to be able to bomb strategic places. The only strategic places to bomb in Russia is Moscow, Petrograd, and if we scroll around, there are some like places here and there, but realistically, the only other one is Warsaw. So we'll have to bomb the Poles. Get some vision here, which is nice. Let's get some defense. Yeah, I really don't think we need all the things that we have on this side. Maybe this is the guy that we could bring. Start getting some defense where these cities are. I kind of like this force as being enough to protect ourselves. Krakow certainly does not have what it needs. I mean, if you guys could like fill in the line, that would help. Germany, yeah, just needs more units. So we'll get at least another garrison coming, just to keep the flow of units. All of this is fine. Let me move in here. There isn't anything to do this, so there shouldn't be a problem. Are we gonna have a problem, sir? Let's just bring our units up here. Do you have 2 vision as a light cruiser? Because if so, that's kind of sick. And Germany's got a fleet. Love it. Love it. There's the sound of the submarines cruising underwater. Nothing to attack. I will move you here. And I want to make sure the entrenchment on Konigsberg stays. I want to make sure that you... I actually would be so okay moving the front line back a little bit. This is a forest and then a grassland and a grassland. Like this, why would I give them the advantage of being placed on the forest? Seems not smart, you know? Like we could make smart decisions and instead we're making not smart ones. So let's back up and just defend ourselves because we're not attacking. All right, there you go. That is a very defensive posture, Germany. We're actually doing really well against Serbia, so I'm loving that. Man, we could have considered throwing these air units down to Serbia. No, I want the air defense, air to air here to get a leader. But still, that's interesting. Let's end turn and see what happens. The end turn button is always the most interesting part because the AI takes their turn so quickly. Very entrenched and looking strong, so we're just kind of looking at it like we're chilling. I'm actually a little bit shocked that they haven't attacked, but quite frankly, Germany has all the advantage in the first opening turns of the war. We could have been all the way into like Antwerp in a couple of those first turns, and now it's too late. And now Britain has expeditionary forces here in like Calais. War effort. Oh, now we're fully mobilized, I guess. Rapid promotion, demonstrating consistent success, rare commodity. Yeah, we'll talk about you in a second. Can I like predict? Like, my plane is better than their plane. So let's attack them and get our first air combat victory. Here, Russia is not in the war yet. Here, we have access to this cannon. We also have access to attacking their wounded unit. This cannon, I do have just enough artillery left with Austria. Let's by doing that, hammering down. I'd also love, like, what are we gonna hit? I want to hit you. No way for me to move forward that. But I could do this. Then I bring you forward. Now I'm in a bit of a conundrum here. What to do? I mean, I could hurt this cannon even more, but Serbia probably doesn't even have that much ammo, if I'm honest. So, first of all, these units can just kill this. I'll even step forward. But I think that this garrison needs to be the next target. I also need to make sure that we repair this unit and this unit. So, that means the next thing to do is to shift. It's to attack. It's to attack. Oh, I didn't do the airplanes first. Oh, that's a mistake. And then 4 damage, almost securing the kill on that unit there. So we are actually dismantling Serbia pretty consistently here. And we have this little breakthrough. I can't push any further forward because these garrisons just don't have the punching power. but we did do a little bit of recovery here as well. This is a strong infantry unit, but it is low on efficiency. It'll have a turn of chilling, and we have some low efficiency guys as well. All the way into here, we're at 9 still, 9. These guys are at 8, but they're chilling for a turn, so should be okay. I would like an extra garrison unit here. And then I would like an extra... Can I move you back, move you forward, and put this rifleman here? Even though it's like an assault unit, I think that if... I think that Russia starts with an armored car. And that is able to punch through a lot of things. So I would rather them not kill me. Do these rail lines go through? Is there a rail line through here? Probably. Oriental Express? I wonder if we should have had a rail line to go after Skjop. We could be bombing this city too, or fortress, to try and lower its like 2 value towards production, but that's not needed. Next up, so we're gonna hold this general back until we know what we need from him. Germans deploying more stuff makes sense. Let's move you back into an interesting position and then deploy you here. I'd really like them to cross the border so that I can counterattack with my cavalry, is what I'm hoping that they do. And then let's produce production stuff. I think I'm gonna not throw anything in the queue for Austria for a turn. Let's go to management and get them another level here. And then similarly with Germany, I don't think I need something in the queue right away. We could either upgrade their artillery or their infantry, and the infantry is so strong to get all this stuff. Let's do it. They still have enough production left. Let's get one more garrison in the queue here. I would like to keep bombarding, keep the enemy away. And we're ready to go. Okay, he discovered my boy. And here we go. They're attacking. Oh god. The Russians. We know them. You know them. And they're actually leaving their cities ungarrisoned, it looks like. Okay, how nasty is that? And air units too. Okay, he did attack. We're moving things around. That's not a good spot for that unit. They just did a blunder, I think, that we can exploit. I'll explain it once we get back to our turn. It might be worth sub-attacking into that. Okay, he's attacking, trying to lower my efficiency. The front lines are getting rotation, but no attacks. Oh, man, there's so much production here in Belgium that we could have just, like... I don't think you get all of it when you conquer the city, but you certainly prevent the enemy from using it. So now Belgium's going to build up. Russia gets into the war. No kidding. We saw that. Naval research unlocked. Save. Sure. Close and continue. Germany is ready with its general. These men attacked into Germany, so I think it's fair to say that we should be using our lads to counter that advance. They also brought the rail car here. Interesting. Production. What does he provide? 2 shock? Wow. This is the place to do it. Arguably, we could shift you back and then bring you up to hit some of these units. I mean, you have 12, 16, 10. Like, cavalry is really bad at resisting blimps. Blimps also have, if I recall, 2 shock. Like, that's pretty good. They do cost an ammunition to use, unlike the planes. But that's notable. We could just put a bunch of pain into this. Could bring you back, you up, you over. Now this corner needs to hold. You have 8. We can do this. Even though it's not efficient, we'll do a little repair there. I could attack you at a loss. I think we have to attack you. And these guys are super. I'm actually free to attack in this zone. The problem is I have no way of... I can do this attack. We did take more damage than them, but their unit's supposed to be twice as strong as mine, so that's fine. No border crossings have happened here, but it looks like they're going to step forward. Looks like they're going to step forward. Maybe what I should do in that case is kind of hold the river and allow them to step into my land, as it were. Because I want a fight. You know, I want them to come forward, and I want to be able to counterattack them. Here we are allowed, because this is not Germany, this is Austria. I don't want to leave the city. This is a defensive front. We'll punish them for stepping into our land. So attack from Premsil. There's another piece attack. And another attack. He's got money. Next up is down here. Interesting. I'd like to repair these units, but there's that weakness I talked about potentially exploiting, and that is certainly coming here across the river. Now, these opponent units, like opposing units, are isolated. Like Belgrade has no supply from the capital. That is massive. That is insanely good for us. Let's go ahead and get some reinforcements here and here. We can step forward. Belgrade could still attack out, don't get me wrong, and they could still get some supply from the city itself, but they are going to be fighting at a reduced strength. So sucks to suck, okay? Let's step forward from Sarajevo, move our artillery forward, and start working on the next breakthrough, likely to happen down here. Splits. I don't need you, man. You can get disabled, turned off. And let's talk about this. Diplomacy, 15 turns plus on Italy. Is it worth 15 production to have this guy standing around? Honestly, probably. Units are expensive, man. It's just such a good deal. So this front is basically handled. This front is not moving. I could step back to give myself counterattack potential. We'll consider that in a second. And by in a second, I mean at one point. I could attack the Dreadnought with the submarines. It's really hard to get those hits. But there we go. We got some efficiency down. Like, we're trying. We can rotate additional units in as needed. You can play the scout. this unit here, pre-Dreadnought. No. This unit, the full Dreadnought, can come down here for artillery support if that becomes a thing that we can do. And then this is so very cool. Dreadnoughts are one of those things that you need to protect because if they die, you take a national like morale penalty. Like they are so expensive and so big and so prestigious that if they die, you get in big doo-doo. Germany management, you need another artillery production. I would love to get more for Austria as well, but it's just not happening. We could give them more air units. Right now we're gonna move ours forward, and then we're gonna double down on the defense up here. We have a lot of defense over here. I think that we need potentially more though. And I did all these attacks without a general. Gosh darn it. It's so hard to remember the generals, quite frankly. They do get... What is that statistic that they're getting? Assault and shock. What is assault? Against the enemy's entrenchment value. They make it good against fortified units. And sorry, what are you providing? You're providing assault, not shock. Man, this whole time I've been talking literally the wrong stuff. But we do have shock on the cannons and other things. We do have shock on the fighters. Just don't have assault. We have assault on you. Assault on you. I'm assuming that you don't have any assault. Yeah. Is this fortified? This is. I'm gonna hold on, even though I want to throw this general down because hey, he gives like a bunch of stuff. I'm not actually convinced that they overlap. Maybe this is a good chance to test. Like if I do deploy it on this unit, for instance, then this unit should be getting the effects of both, right? He has 1 shock as a garrison and 11 base defense. So if I were to throw this guy down, I still only have 1 shock, and I can't undo it. But I mean, it was worth the knowledge, we'll say. All right, and that's basically, I mean, Austria can't buy a new research lab. We got our focuses going down. In terms of production, Austria, you can afford a fighter. Why don't we? It's kind of fighter heavy, but I think if we're going to play the long war against Russia and France, like that's kind of needed, because like they're just gonna outproduce, man. Okay, that was bad. It was bad. They hit us. They out-cheated my submarines. Russians are scared. Big infantry. Oh, God. Okay. Okay, I did try and break out for Belgrade there, but too little too late, I think. And we're at an hour here, so once this is done, I think it's time to save up, even though I want to submarine attack that dreadnought. I want to do so much. France is just chilling. France is like, dude, you declared war on me. Are you coming or not? And Russia's like, you declared war on me. I don't care. I'm coming. So, something to consider. Oh, our first convoy from the New World and from northern Sweden are coming in. Very lovely. Those are not... Well, the Swedish one's going to make it. The northern... Ooh, a general. And alpine fighting conditions. I want to know what his stats are. He gives attack, defense, shock. Interesting. I wonder if there's anything to be said about like the description that they give. And like here, no more commanders are coming. But for instance, Germany is going to get more commanders. So it is what it is. Kills inflicted. I love it. Okay, with that said, I'm going to call that... I don't want to call that here. I want to do one more thing. I want to move this submarine. Okay, I want to move you away. Move you away so you can bombard. And I want to move this submarine back so that it can heal. Then I move you forward, and I try that sub-attack again. And then you could sub-attack, but that's like... so bad for your health that you will just die. So you come back, and then these light cruisers would also die. So let's just go here. I don't think you can touch one of my airplanes or sink one of my submarines on the attack. So that's just one of the things I want to make sure I did. We still have this front line, this front line. He's not attacking from Warsaw. Makes sense. I'm ready to like counterattack him so hard here, and they're not attacking here either. And we are actually making decent progress. Like, this is World War I, okay, man? The fact that we're 1, 2, 3 tiles deep, if you count the long way, 0 tiles deep if you count the worst ways. Like, yeah. I mean, we've gained some ground. Oh my god, I didn't mean to yawn through that. It's actually super interesting to me. But one other thing I'm going to do before I forget, I'll just put the submarine here. The enemy can't see submarines, so if they see my fleet and they go to attack it, they'll just get like stuck on this submarine and have to attack it the following turn. So it's cool. Oh, man, I love this game. I want to play so bad, but no, we're going to hit save one more time, and I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. I really hope that people want to watch this kind of longer form strategy content. We got to wait until July of 1915 before Germany can start attacking, and at that point all of our momentum is lost. So yeah, I would say that we're in a tough spot. A tough spot. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you next time. Ciao for now.